Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Market Show. And today's Friday, so today would be a weekly wrap up. And we will take a look at what happened this week, as well as what I'm going to be looking for going into next week. And tomorrow I'll be doing the weekly natural gas update video. And Sunday I will be doing the big tech weekly update video, where every Sunday I do the breakdown of NVIDIA, Tesla, Google, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. So make sure to watch that if you are in any of the tech stocks, or if you're just trading any tech stocks in the market, because those tech stocks will move QQQ, and QQQ will move most of the tech stocks in the market. All right, let's get into it. So we are looking at SPY, and SPY is still very healthy pullback today, and no red flags for the bulls at the moment. So how do we know when there is a red flag? So if you're bull right now, it's you're perfectly okay, due to we just broke out of this tightening range. You can see this both of this range and this range, we broke out of that. So when there's a contraction of price action, meaning something that contracts into a smaller tightening range, it breaks out of it. We usually want to see a back test of it, so which is what we got today. So we broke out of it, and now today we back tested it and then bounce off of it. So far I wouldn't say this is a bounce off of it, but we have held it of that prior resistance now becoming support, because we are above it. If we zoom into the action today on the 5-minute time frame, you can see that this level right here, tested it once, held it, tested it twice, held it, tested it 3 times again, and held it into the close. Though we can't say this is a potential bounce. That's very sorry. It could be a potential bounce. So we can't say this is a bounce already, because we want to see a trend change on the higher time frame, like in the hourly. Where is my hour? Oh, there it is. Back to the bulls, for us to call that a bounce off of the support. So right now we want to see something like that. It's looking a little bit red in the after hours. Maybe there is news, but not. I don't see anything at the moment. Down 0.16, but could just be technical. You can see this sideways range. So whoever breaks the sideways range Monday will be the winner. What the SPY bulls don't want to see is us getting back below this range, because we just took, like, I don't know how many weeks we took. Let's go back on daily. It just took us from early March all the way to May, almost end of May, to break out of this range, right? And so if we just, Monday come back into here, that would be a bad sign for the bulls, right? Because how much work it took in here, break out of that, squeezes the shorts that were accumulating their shorts in these two areas, and finally got above it, back tested it, right? So far holding it for today, and next thing you know, we come back into it, then that is a very good sign for the bulls. So that's the psychology behind it, of the price action. Obviously, if we come down to it, there is still room for a daily higher low, higher than the prior pivot low, and we can potentially bounce back and come back into it. But just that bulls don't want to see us closing back underneath here. It just it'll make them need to do more work for that bounce versus bouncing here. But the problem is that if we look at QQQ, you'd be like, okay, we're a little bit extended on QQQ. So if QQQ pulls back a little bit more than SPY, right? How is SPY going to hold this level? So that's a question for the bulls at the moment, right? So we always got to look at both perspectives on both sides, regardless of which way you're trading. As a trader, we want to trade both sides to make the most money. And so if you're on a bullish position, you want to always ask yourself, what would the bears be thinking? As well as if you're in a bearish position, you want to be always thinking what the bulls would be thinking at the moment. So from a bull perspective on QQQ, also there is 0 flags. QQQ obviously is a much stronger chart than SPY at the moment. The daily uptrend just continues. Weekly uptrend is still continuing, and is on a uptrend in every single time frame. And we are also at the 52-week high. So you can say, all right, this week was a beautiful move, continuation of QQQ, but what happens when QQ decides to take a little bit of a break? We can pull back all the way to here, and there will still be no red flags for QQQ. As long as we hold above prior pivot, which is this run here, right here, on Friday, the May 12th, the daily uptrend continues. Obviously, if we pull back all the way down here, and that would just negate the bull flags and everything, but it will still be an uptrend due to we are still above the pivot high. So let's say we come down all the way here, bounces off, um, and break the prior highs. I wouldn't think so if we do pull back that much, but then the uptrend just continues because of this pivot here. As long as we stay above that pivot, let's say we break below that pivot, then we become a neutral trend. But as of now, we don't see any of that. But if we do pull back this much, the most likely scenario is a equilibrium, meaning it would just chop around, tightening up due to the size of the swings on both ways. Because we have seen many, many equilibriums for this year due to the volatility of each swings on both sides. As of now, if QQ decide to just take a healthy break, let's say from this A to B move, right? QQ can pull back all the way down to the 0.382 line where that yellow box is, and that'll be around 329 area, and it'll still be a bull flag. So as long as it's within the 0.382, it'll still be a bull flag. So let's say we pull back from here to here, it'll look like a huge pullback due to the size of the pullback, and it would be a little bit of a red flag for sure because we just negated this whole move right here, and it will still be a daily bull flag from this area. But usually wouldn't. It would be more like a weekly, more clear. And so yeah, so if we pull back like that, then we can still form a bull flag, chop in this range, bull flag, tightening up, and then potentially another leg up like that on the weekly. Um, but obviously that would take roughly many weeks. We don't have any of that price action at the moment. So that's what I'll be looking for into next week. Next week decides how much we'll pull back is going to be key for me. If we have a big pullback, the chances of us making a lower high, meaning this high is lower than this high, would happen if we have a big enough pullback. If it's a shallow pullback, the chances of us continuing the uptrend would be very likely. So the key for me is the pullback, size of the pullback next week. And for SPY, technically we can say we are in a bull market now from the October low. NASDAQ has already been in a bull market for a very long time. So from the October low, measure all the way up to where we closed. It's pretty much exactly at 20%. So from the low to the where we close, if it's over 20%, it's a technical bull market. And so yeah, we're just right on it. Like I'm not the guy to say, call this is a bull market or whatever. But we'll see if it continues. Then obviously it's a bull market. Let's say we bounce off of this level where I talked about it was a prior resistance, it becomes support, bounce off of it, and another leg up, close over here. That is, I would say that's a bull market, and then it just does whatever it wants from there on. Doesn't matter. I don't really care about the 20% bull market technical stuff for that kind of thing. More I care about is just the price action and how it trades around the area. If we do break that, bounce off of this prior resistance support, I'm likely looking to fill this gap. And if we do fill the gap, then we're looking back at this range, top of this range, where it's traded area. So it would be this zone. You can see how this zone traded as well here, bounce off of here prior, and this area. So we'll see how if we actually bounce off of that prior resistance zone right here. See what's happening a little bit in the after hours. Yeah, still in range. Just more technical probably because we closed at the top of the range and we have been chopping right straight sideways. Could just be a potential pullback. If it doesn't break below this, there's no change in the structure itself. So it'll be likely be Monday when we break out of this range. And as of earnings next week, I am looking at NVDA. That's the biggest one that I will be watching, and the other one will be Costco, and the rest I don't won't be looking at it too much. Maybe a little bit Best Buy. That's about it. So retails and tech earnings for next week. A little bit of mixed bag. Some banks, Canada banks, TD, RBC, BMO. Um, yeah, so those two I'll be looking at. NVIDIA would be huge because the semiconductor sector has been leading the QQQ lately. You can see when Q is up like 2%, semis are up like 3%. So semi has been leading lately, and we'll see if semis can continue to lead. Let's take a look at semis today. Semis a little weaker today due to how much we have ran on the semis. Um, you can see this whole move. It's like a 9% move compared to like QQQ's 3-day moves. So from here, roughly 3.5. Yeah, is that a 4-day move? Wait, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, roughly from this one then. Yeah, roughly a 4 versus a 9. So you can see how much semi has been leading. Usually that's how it works. Semis will lead the move, and QQQ also follows it. Obviously, QQQ has more weightings and everything, but bulls love to see when semis are running hot and every sector running hot together in the same direction. So, and the rate hikes did actually change quite a bit due to Jerome was speaking today, and he mentioned the credit tightening for the banks has been tightening a little bit for the credits. So he sort of just like indirectly like said the most likely scenario that they will do is probably hold on the next meeting. So you can see this was actually close to 40% yesterday on the possible of another rate hike. And right when Jerome finished talking, or during his talk, it switched to roughly 20-ish. So that's a big shift, and chances of us getting a rate hike around the 20-ish is slim to none unless this goes back up to close to 40s. And so, and the next is coming in 25 days, so next month. And this already have repriced itself quite a bit already. So you can see we used to have a lot of cuts. Now it's like hold, and then one cut. And so I would say this chart here is very fairly priced. If we do hold into November and cut in November, it's pretty reasonable for me. Feds don't just like cut right away after they raise rates. So we just rose rates last meeting, so they're not going to just start cutting right away after 1 month or 2 months, right? So a 3-month hold and another cut on November seems pretty reasonable due to the conditions in the credit market and all the bank shenanigans. But if something changes, something breaks down, who knows, right? So we'll just have to keep watch on the market if anything happens. And so far, the debt ceiling has nothing happened at the moment. It's just always like this, so I'm not expecting much either way. Some people say it may default, but we're traders, so the most likely probability, just based on history, is that they're not going to default. So we'll just have to stick with that. But who knows, right? Maybe something will happen, and we'll just have to be a ninja to see act on it if something does happen. So that's what I'm seeing overall for the markets going to next week. So going to next week, the size of the pullback will be key for me. And do we in that sideways range that we had chopped all day? It's going to be key when we break that out of that sideways range on SPY and QQQ as well. Will be a good telling, because if we do break out of the sideways range, bearish, then we're back down underneath that prior strong resistance, and now we just finally broke above it. If we just get back into it in 2 days, then that's a red flag. All right, that's all I got for you guys for today, and hope you guys have a great weekend. Feel free to subscribe if you made it this far, as well as I will be doing a big tech update on the every Sunday. And so make sure to watch that one, and I will see you guys around.